Hello, can everyone hear me? Can you guys hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, y'all know the routine. Let's give some of the people a chance to get in. All right, so the first 5 minutes, we just can give everybody a chance to get in. Mute your mics for me, please. All right, we got 2 more minutes. Message your various groups and let them know that I already started letting people in. And let people know that I don't be on my cell phone when I'm in class. So all of these messages that popping up, I can't read them. As I turn my phone volume down. All right, so let's get started. Okay, so tonight, obviously, I think you all realize by now that we are on a joint call. We're on a joint call, and the reason why I decided to do this is because it's one topic, and you're all going to be doing the same thing. All right, so we're going to get into our mock job interview season. What does that, Miss B? The portfolios that you guys would have completed last term was part one of the exercise that I normally do with my students, all right? What you do is I take you through the job application process, your resumes, making sure that they're together and you know how to do it properly. And the second term, I do mock job interviews with students. In particular, grade 12. they are bused and carried to a local organization / business that we would partner with, and they would be now listen to me. We ain't going there tonight. So yeah, they are going to be bused to the organization, and they are going to be interviewed by strangers who are going to then grade them. So let me put this disclaimer out there now. Grade 12, your mock job interviews start on the 18th of February. So what does that mean, Ms. B? All of next week, I am going to host little meetings inside the chapel for those persons that are interested. I am going to host meetings for all of those persons who are interested, just to kind of walk through sample mock interviews and give you guys some more details. Those of you that have not collected your portfolios, please come and collect them. I would have expressed to you guys from a long time ago that you are to, if you did not do your portfolio, you have to do it because that's a part of your grade. This is your final grade. All right? So your portfolio is going to be a part of it. The different organizations were told to make sure, look out during the interview to make sure that you present your portfolio. If not, you will be deducted points. Okay? Yeah, further instructions will be given at a later time, specifically grade 12. Now, grade 11s and 10, your mock job interview is going to be at school, and your mock job interview is going to be done by me during the lunchtime period, the break and lunchtime period. All right? Persons will be given a date and a time as to when they are to come to be interviewed. You will either come dressed in your clothing at school, or you will change right before break or lunch. Okay? But like I said, information for you guys are going to be forthcoming, meaning it's going to come soon. All right? Just know that it's coming. I haven't decided as yet if it's not going to be February, probably. It's probably going to be the last week of February, first week of March. All right? But yeah, you guys are going to have to do it. So all of you who have not completed your portfolios, yeah, you're going to have to do that. Now, if you really don't care about your grades, I can't force you to do it. I only can advise you, and I'm telling you guys way in advance. I think grade 12 is a week out. All right, hold on one second. Dejanay, if you on this call, remind me to look for Javon Knowles tomorrow, please. All right. Yeah. So tonight we're going to cover preparing for an interview. All right. Feel free to take notes. You guys know how I operate. I will give you specific pointers, but feel free to take some notes, all right? How to prepare for a job interview. A job interview is a meeting between an employer and a job applicant. A job interview is a meeting between an employer and a job applicant to discuss possible employment. I'm going to read it again. You won't be allowed to unmute your microphones, by the way, if you guys try to. All right. A job interview is a meeting place between an employer and a job interview is a meeting between an employer and a job applicant to discuss possible employment. Stand out as a job candidate by preparing thoroughly in the days before your interview. Hold on, guys, I'm still letting people in. All right. So one of the things you have to do, well, I try to tell a lot of my young people, is when you go on an interview, there are specific things that you should do before your interview. First thing, know the date, know the time, and know the location. I know it sounds a bit trivial, but there are a lot of people who go on job interviews, they don't write down any information once they're called, and when they're called upon, when they're called, like I said, they don't write down anything, and then they have to call the company back and say, oh, what time should I be there? When the employer contacts you for an interview, note the exact time and location for the interview. Ask how much time you should allow for the interview, meaning ask how long do you think the interview is going to be. But of course, don't just come out and ask, how long I could be there? No, vocabulary is everything. Simply note, how long should I expect this interview process to be? And then they would tell you. Ask how much time you should allow for the interview. Plan how you will get to the interview and how long the trip will take to estimate so that you can know how early you can be there or if you may possibly end up being late. All right? Never be late for an interview. Make sure you know the interviewer's job title and how to pronounce his or her name. So when the person's call you and said, hi, Miss Davia Smith, we're calling you from blah, 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 and you have an interview on this particular day at that time. Okay, thank you so much for calling me. May I ask, who will I be interviewed by? Sure, you're going to be interviewed by Miss Bethel, or they will say, at this present moment, we're unsure as to who or which manager is going to interview you. And that's fine, because when you get there, you can ask, okay, what's the name? Or may I ask who is going to interview me? And they should be able to tell you then. All right, but you always know, so that when you walk into the room, you can say, good morning, Mr. or Mrs. or Mistress. All right? So like I said, make sure you know the interviewer's job title and how to pronounce his or her full name. If you are not sure, call the employer's main number and ask the person who answers the phone. Prepare for the phone call or preparing for the phone call. Many employers perform a phone screen before interviewing the candidate. What does that mean, Ms. Bethel? Sometimes different organizations handle things a different way. You have some persons who decide to have a phone conversation with you before they actually call you in to meet you. Some casually just call and say, hello, my name is such and such, and I'm calling from blah, 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 and they go from there, all right? It doesn't seem like an interview, but it is. Some of you will experience that with different universities. Some of my 12th graders that are on the call can probably attest to that because they themselves have been interviewed either over the telephone or through video. All right, so many employers perform a phone screen before inviting a candidate to an in-person interview. A phone screen is a short first interview by phone. Be polite and be professional and use good phone grammar. All right? Grammar is a serious thing, and that's something that we have to work on with you guys. All right? Research the employer. I always tell persons, that are in the college club. You can't tell me that you want to go to a certain university and you have not done any research on the school. You've not done any research on what they have to offer you, and the same goes for a job. If you are serious about this, obtaining this particular job and this particular position, you must do your research on the company. All right. Learn as much as you can about the organization to which you are applying. Learning about the employer helps you learn whether the job is a good match for your skills, values, interests, and career. Grade 12, you would have remembered me talking to you guys about what is a job, what is work, what is occupation, what is a career. So now you should have been thinking about, okay, what do I want to do? Grade 11 and 10, we're going to get there. I think we covered that in grade 10, grade 11 as well. But you never just apply to a university for applying's sake. You have to do your research on the university and you have to do your research on the company. Trust me, because at the end of the day, you don't want, when you get this job, you're only there for a month or two because you haven't done your research. You haven't done your background check on the company. They're doing their background check on you. So you have the right to do your background check on the persons as well. Okay, hold on. So doing research helps you ask informed questions during the interview. It shows the interviewer that you are resourceful, thorough, and motivated. These are desirable qualities of an employee. Let me read that again. Doing research helps you ask informed questions during the interview. It shows the interviewer that you are resourceful, thorough. Mr. Gaming, please stop putting your camera on, please. All right, it shows the interviewer that you are resourceful, thorough, and motivated. These are desirable qualities in any employee. Research protects you. Researching a company can also protect you. For example, you might learn that the company does not really fit with your career goals. The company may be in financial trouble or have a high employee turnover, which suggests the workers are not happy there. All right, so that's something for you to look at as well as a newcomer coming in. What's the turnover? How often do they hire people? Why are people leaving? And you will have some people that are disgruntled on some jobs, but I mean, you can't have a bunch of people constantly in and out, in and out, in and out. Something isn't right. Okay? So that's something for you to look at too when you guys are applying for a job. Prepare answers to the interview questions. The next step in preparing for an interview is to rehearse answers to likely interview questions. The interviewer asks questions to find out whether you are a good candidate for the job. You can show that you are the best candidate by showing that you understand the employee's work and how employees contribute to the employer's success. All right? Do's. Show examples of past achievements. Show that you have done your research. Be positive, confident, and truthful. Don'ts. Don't criticize or blame others. Make excuses. Talk about your personal life. Talk about likes and dislikes. Talk about negative past. Okay? Example. Imagine that you are applying for a sales job at a clothing store. How would you answer the following interview questions? What are your career goals? Why do you think you are right for the job? What are your greatest strengths? I would suggest you guys write them down. I'm going to repeat them again. All right? These are common questions that are asked in job interviews. 1, what are your career goals? What are your career goals? 2, why do you think you are the right person for the job? 2, why do you think you are the right person for the job? And 3, what are your greatest strengths? What are your greatest strengths? Those are just 3 of the many questions. I'm going to post within the classroom some questions for you guys to go over. All right? Create job-specific answers. The interview is your opportunity to convince the employer or the recruiter that you would perform well on the job, or if you obtain that scholarship or that college admission. Do this by focusing on the experience, skills, motivation, and knowledge that apply to the specific job you are seeking or the specific college that you are applying for. All right? Let me repeat that again. The interview is an opportunity. The interview is an opportunity to convince an employer or recruiter that you would perform well on the job, or if afforded the opportunity to be accepted into the university. Do this by focusing on the experience that you have, the skills that you have, the motivation and knowledge that apply to the specific job or college that you are applying for. Anticipate difficult interview questions. A lot of times when I do this mock job interview, students are thrown off because they get hit with a question that they are not prepared to answer. Normally, I would have sat in a classroom and I would have walked through questions. How would you answer this question, Ms. B? How would you not answer this question? That's why I'm going to sit with grade 12 and I'm going to walk them through certain things. Only the serious grade 10s and 11s can come. I am not dealing with the distracting students. As seen tonight, I'm not doing it. So if you have no intention of coming to learn something, please don't come. All right? So I will walk you guys through this so that you're prepared for the mock job interview when we go off campus. All right? So some of the difficult questions, and I'm not going to answer them here on the call. I'm going to leave them for you guys to think about. How would you answer this question? What qualities do you have that make up for the lack of experience that you possess for this position? Let me repeat that again. What qualities do you have that make up for your lack of experience for this position? Keep in mind that most of you do not have any qualifications besides a high school diploma. Some of you would have never worked before. So how would you answer that question? And this is a good conversation piece. Maybe you can ask your parents, Mommy, Daddy, how would you answer this question in a job interview? That way, when we meet, I can hear some of your responses. All right? Another question. We are a very competitive company. Why should we hire you? We're very competitive. We get resumes every day. Hundreds of resumes every day. Why should we hire you? You have no qualifications. You have no experience. What is going to set you apart from every other person that's sending us their resume? Imagine you had a major mistake on a job. What would you do to fix it? All right, let me repeat it again. Imagine you made a major mistake on a job. What would you do to fix it? The next question, have you ever been fired? I can tell you from an adult standpoint, no one ever wants to tell another employee or a new employee, an employer, that they've been fired. because then it makes you look some kind of way. Now, in some cases, you were fired without just cause or it was not your fault, but you have room to explain and always be honest. Yes, I was terminated from my job, but it was because of X, Y, and Z, 1, 2, and 3. All right? It's either they want you or they don't. It doesn't make any sense lying or trying to cover it up. Just be honest. All right? What makes you different from all of the other candidates I have interviewed so far? Some of you will end up applying to Bahamas. Some of you will end up applying to Atlantis. And you'll see on a given day, you'll buck people there who are called every half an hour for an interview. So you will see persons coming in and out and in and out. As you walk out, they're preparing to let someone else go in and be interviewed, especially if they're doing something called mass hiring, okay? And you have to prepare in your mind, what's gonna set me apart from these other people that are here? Don't let you sit there and have a conversation with these particular persons before you go in and they start to tell you their credentials and all that they have done and the experience that they have. But you have to be confident in who you are. And you have to be confident in what you can offer the company. But the only way you can do that is if you know who you are and if you know what you have to offer. All right? What do you see yourself doing in 5 years? Last week, I think grade 12 and we would have talked about long-term goals, medium goals, short goals. So you guys should be well prepared because you guys should know, okay, hey, my long-term goal is this. Because we discussed long-term could be anywhere from 5 to 10 years. Or if you see long-term being a year, then that's on you. But you should have already started in your mind putting thoughts together and then on paper. All right? So let me read those questions again. I'm going to post them in the Google Classroom as well. What qualities do you have that make up for your lack of experience? We are a very competitive company. Why should we hire you? Imagine you made a major mistake on your job. What would you do to fix it? Have you ever been fired? What makes you different from all the other candidates I've interviewed? What do you see yourself doing in 5 years? Hold on 1 second for me. I do apologize. We have some students on the call tonight who feel like playing. And I'm really, really trying not to. I'm really, really trying to stay as focused as I possibly can be. So parents that are on the call, please bear with me. And students. All right. So focus on the positive. You might be asked what makes you different or what qualities you have for the job. When responding, focus on your strengths. I always tell my young people, I said, listen, you never want to focus on your weak areas for a job interview. All right? You always want to focus on your strengths. all right? Because that's what you're going to pull from. So when responding, focus on your strengths. You might, for example, say, every candidate has a different combination of strengths. Mine are intelligent, organizational skills, and flexibility to handle new situations. I love that answer. Some interviewers might ask you, what are your weaknesses? Be honest, but focus on the positive. Like I always tell people when I go on an interview, that's the number one question. They're always gonna ask you, what are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? I tell people, I say, my weakness is I'm a workaholic. And a lot of my students who are really close to me or pay attention to what I do, they can tell you Miss B is always working. For example, working at 6 o'clock, being on this call with y'all when I really, don't have to be. But I'm offering myself because I understand the importance of it. But I call it a weakness because I could be spending time with my family. I could be doing some homework or bettering myself academically, but I'm constantly working. I'm constantly trying to either better myself or pour into my students or finish up some work or whatever. And it's a weakness because I lose out on my personal time. I lose out on my family time. All right. So that's why I look at it as a weakness rather than a strength. Some people will call it a strength because not everyone is as energized to do or is willing to take certain initiatives. But I look at it as a cost. I pay the price in order for you guys to succeed. Because my son is home with no homework and wants to play. And I'm working. All right. So you have to determine within yourself what are your weaknesses. All right. So you can say something like, in the past, I have sometimes taken on too many tasks. Now I use a to-do list, which allow me to keep track of my task and manage my time better. All right. So like tonight, what I was trying to do was put everyone together so that I could cut down the amount of time that I would have had teaching the same lesson 3 times for 5 to 6, 6 to 7, for 3 hours. Just throw everyone together and then we do one lesson. All right. Say the first response again. The first response is every candidate has a different combination of strengths. Mine are intelligence, organizational skills, and the flexibility to handle new situations. All right, so that's one answer. So in the last 6 minutes, I'm going to cover body language. As you practice your answers, practice your body language too. Body language is a gesture, posture, and eye contact. Always keep eye contact with the person that's interviewing you. Don't go in the office with your head hanging down and you're answering the person. We smell weakness and they will eat you alive. You walk into that office, even if you don't feel confident, you pretend. You keep your head up and you constantly look at the person. I always tell people you don't necessarily have to look at their face. You can look on the side of them to the left or the right, but just make sure that your eyes are facing them and your head is facing them. All right? We are often unaware of our body language. Positive body language is a key to making a good impression. Eye contact and good posture signals self-confidence. Nodding and leaning forward shows that you are paying attention. Keeping your hands relaxed and still shows that you are calm. These are things to help create a positive body language. All right? Practice your body language. You can practice by using using a mirror. You can videotape yourself with a friend. And many interviews now take place on a webcam. Ask someone, perhaps a teacher, to play the role of the interviewer or a friend to play the role of an interviewer. All right? And then get feedback from them. Once you get feedback from them, they can tell you, okay, you were a little sketchy when it came to this, you were a little sketchy when it came to that. So the serious persons on this call, practice with your parents. All right? You're going to be very interested in the homework that I'm going to give this week because it's going to require you to practice. It's going to require you to practice. So I gave a wealth of information, and I know it seemed like I rushed through it because we only have 40 minutes, and I'm trying to not be here and have kids just be a distraction. All right, so the video is going to be posted shortly after. You can go behind and watch the video, listen to it, ignore the distractions, please. I do apologize for that. But watch the video and you can go behind and take notes. I'm going to post as much as I can in the Google Classroom for you to use as a reference. All right, so I'm not going to take questions because I have all of the mics muted intentionally. But you can feel free to write a comment in the Google Classroom, or you can feel free to come and speak with me tomorrow. We can cover it, or we can cover it in the WhatsApp groups. If you have a question, I can answer it there tonight for those persons that need me to answer certain questions. All right? So there's nothing else that I have for you guys. Like I said, let me reiterate it since we have a lot more persons here. 12th graders, you're going to have your mock job interview starting on the 18th. I will give a list of those persons that will be going to the various places and when you will be going. Grade 11 and 10, you'll be doing your interviews on campus and you'll be doing them with me. All right? You are going to be required to change into your interview attire. I will confirm, I know grade 12, Ms. Thompson is allowing you to come in your clothing. Grade 10 and 11, I will confirm what she, prefers for you guys to do, all right? Your portfolios are a part of this grade. I would have told you guys from before midterm to get them done. You got a whole month to get them done. Grade 12, you have one more week, I think, to get them done because you're going to need them when we go off campus. Grade 10 and 11, you're also going to need them for your mock job interview, all right? This is going to be graded. Let me say that again. This is going to be graded, and this is going to be a part of your final grade. Yes, it's going to be a part of your final grade. So I'm just putting that out there for the parents that are on the call, the children that are on the call, and it's been recorded. So thank you so much for coming to class tonight. I know I was a little bit dry, which is not me, partially because I'm irritated and partially because I'm not feeling well. But I hope that you guys got something from it, and I will see you guys next week. All right.